Hello friends, welcome to Dungeons & Dragonfly, where I adapt various characters for use in D&D. I'm Dragonfly9078, and today we're building the 4th Homestuck kid, Jade Harley. Once again, spoilers will abound, so proceed with caution. For a bit of background, Jade was raised by her grandpa on an isolated island in the Pacific Ocean, at least until he died and she stuffed and mounted his corpse in front of their fireplace. She had to learn to rely on herself, her omnipotent dog Becquerel, and on the dreams she had of a bright planet with a golden moon where the clouds showed visions of future events. She met John, Rose, and Dave online because of time shenanigans and joined their Spurb session, eventually ascending to godhood as the Witch of Space. So, what do we want from this build? Well, even though her grandpa was rich and left behind an impressive house, Jade grew up practically alone. She's a tough, practical girl who can fend for herself with her rifle-kind strife specibus. Jade's aspect is space, which can refer to stars and planets, but is also concerned with the physical reality of objects. As the Witch of Space, Jade is able to change the location of people and objects with telekinesis and teleportation, as well as changing their size by scaling them up or down. Additionally, she gained the power of a First Guardian, letting her channel the power of the Green Sun. This supercharges her space powers, giving her knowledge of the universe, letting her teleport wherever she wants, and letting her serve as a portal to the Green Sun itself. Looking over at ability scores, we'll be using the standard point array. If you want to roll for stats, that's fine. We actually don't have any multiclassing minimums to watch out for. We'll start off by dumping strength. We don't need it for anything, and we've got telekinesis if we need to do any heavy lifting. Dexterity's next at 14. Jade is a skilled markswoman. And she's fueled by the limitless power of a sun, so Constitution needs at least a +1 modifier. She also has a passion for high-tech gadgets and nuclear physics, so we'll make Intelligence a 15. Wisdom is only a 10. Jade has shown an unfortunate susceptibility to mind control on multiple occasions. And we'll finish up with a 12 in Charisma, because she's surprisingly well socialized for someone who grew up on a deserted island with no one around. Jade used to be a human, but when she went God tier, she fused with her dog, so we'll be making her a Wild Hunt Shifter. We get +2 to Wisdom and +1 to Dexterity, and enhanced senses for 60 feet of dark vision, as well as proficiency with survival. Once per rest, we can give in to our furry side, using our bonus action to transform for a minute, giving us temporary HP equal to our level plus our Constitution modifier, as well as advantage on all Wisdom checks. Also, while we're transformed, other creatures within 30 feet can't have advantage on attack rolls against us, as long as we are not incapacitated. Growing up far from civilization on Hell Murder Island qualifies Jade for the Outlander background, for proficiency with athletics and survival. We already have survival though, so switch that out for animal handling to take care of our devil beast. We also get 1 musical instrument, so we'll rock out on the eclectic bass guitar. Like John, Jade is absurdly powerful by the end of the comic, so, like John, we'll be doing a full 20 levels in one class, in this case, Wizard. We get 2 skills from the Wizard list. I would go with Arcana and Investigation. We also get Arcane Recovery to salvage some expended spell slots. Once per day, during a short rest, we can recover spell slots whose total level is no more than half of our Wizard level, none of which can be higher than 5th level. For cantrips, Mage Hand is minor telekinesis that can lift objects up to 10 pounds within 30 feet. Dancing Lights conjures tiny stars that shed dim light in a 10-foot radius, and Firebolt uses our trusty Green Sun Street Sweeper to shoot blasts of fire that deal up to 4d10 fire damage on a hit. Catapult telekinetically hurls an object through the air in a 90-foot line, dealing 3d8 damage to the first creature or object it hits, though a creature can make a dexterity save to avoid it. And Infallible Relay magically connects our phone to the closest communication device to a creature on the same plane as us, so we can keep in contact with our friends no matter where they go. We'll also pick up Detect Magic, Mage Armor, Identify, and Expeditious Retreat. At 2nd level, we pick a focus for our magic, and I'm gonna say War Magic. Our Nigh Omniscience propels us into battle by adding our Intelligence modifier to our initiative, and we can flex our First Guardian powers to avoid attacks with Arcane Deflection, using our reaction to add 2 to our AC when we're hit with an attack, or 4 to a failed save, which can turn a hit into a miss or a failed save into a success. Either way, the effort takes a toll on us, so afterward we can't cast spells more powerful than cantrips on our next turn. Tensor's Floating Disc lets us telekinetically carry up to 500 pounds, and Gift of Alacrity uses our omniscience even more to add a d8 to our initiative rolls. One of Jade's most prominent space powers is size manipulation. Enlarge Reduce makes a creature or object one size category larger or smaller. If we make the target larger, the target's size is doubled and their weight is multiplied by 8. They also get advantage on strength checks and saves, and their weapons deal an extra 1d4 damage. If we shrink the target, their size is halved, their weight is 1/8 of normal, they have disadvantage on strength checks and saves, and their weapons deal 1d4 less damage. Another prominent space power is teleportation. Now we'll be getting several teleportation spells over the course of this build, but the first one is Misty Step, which only takes a bonus action to cast and teleports us up to 30 feet. At 4th level, we'll take the Gunner feat so we can actually use our Strife Specifists. We round off our dexterity to 16 and get proficiency with firearms. We can also ignore the loading property of our firearms, and we don't get disadvantage to our ranged attacks from being next to an enemy. We'll also take Prestidigitation, which can heat or cool food with our Cookalizer and Refrigerator respectively, or teleport tiny objects into our hand briefly. With Hold Person, we can paralyze a humanoid that fails a Wisdom save, and with Levitate, we can lift ourself, an object, or a creature that fails a Constitution save into the air. We can move them 20 feet up or down on our turn, but we can't move them horizontally. 5th level wizards get 3rd level spells. All players who reach the God tier get the ability to fly, so we'll take Fly for a 60-foot fly speed. Melf's Minute Meteors teleport 6 shrunken meteors into our space. They orbit around us, and when we cast a spell or as a bonus action on our turn, we can throw 1 or 2 of them at points we can see within 120 feet. When they reach the targeted point or hit a solid surface, they explode, dealing 2d6 fire damage to any creatures within 5 feet who fail a dexterity save, half damage on a success. 6th level war wizards can channel the power of the Green Sun with Power Surge. Once per turn, when we deal damage with a spell, we can expend a Power Surge to deal extra force damage equal to half of our wizard level. We get a Power Surge whenever we end a spell with Dispel Magic or Counterspell, or if we finish a short rest with none left. We can store a number of them equal to our Intelligence modifier, but the number we have stored resets to 1 after any long rest. Unfortunately, Dispel Magic and Counterspell aren't really things that Jade does. She does, however, blink. For 1 minute, we have a 50% chance to jump into the ethereal plane at the end of each of our turns, and then we come back on the next turn. We'll also get Pulse Wave, an intense blast of telekinesis that forces all creatures in a 30-foot cone to make a Constitution save, dealing 6d6 force damage and either pushing or pulling them 15 feet on a fail. For 4th level spells, we can use Banishment to remove an enemy from a battle entirely, teleporting them away if they fail a Charisma save. They return when our concentration ends, but if we teleport them to their home plane and our concentration lasts the entire minute, they stay there and have to find their own way back. And since we're a portal to the Green Sun, we can let its sickening radiance shine through. The light spreads in a 30-foot radius around a point we choose within 120 feet. A creature that starts its turn in the light, or that moves into it, has to make a Constitution save, taking 4d10 radiant damage and 1 level of exhaustion on a fail. They also start glowing, so they can't become invisible. The light and any levels of exhaustion caused by the spell fade when the spell ends. 8th level gets us our second feat. Telekinetic rounds off our intelligence to 16 and doubles the range of our mage hand to 60 feet, also letting us make it invisible. We can also force a creature within 30 feet to make a strength save, either pushing or pulling them 5 feet on a fail. We'll also pick up another way to teleport with Dimension Door, to teleport to any place within 500 feet, as well as Locate Creature to find the frogs we'll need to fulfill our duty as a space player and breed the Genesis frog. 9th level wizards get 5th level spells. Scrying lets us see any creature or place on the same plane as us for some First Guardian omniscience. And we can use Telekinesis to lift a huge or smaller creature or an object weighing up to 1,000 pounds and move it around freely. If we're trying to lift a creature, we make an intelligence check against their strength. If we succeed, the creature is restrained, and we can move them up to 30 feet in any direction, including up in the air. At 10th level, the volatile energy of the Green Sun makes us even harder to hit. As long as we're concentrating on a spell, we get +2 to our AC and to all of our saving throws. For some spells to concentrate on, Hold Monster is just like Hold Person, but it can affect non-humanoid creatures. And we can use Far Step to teleport 60 feet each turn with our bonus action. We also get 1 more cantrip, go with Blade Ward to get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage for 1 round. For 6th level spells, Scatter can teleport up to 5 creatures to spaces we can see within 120 feet. And just like Rose, we're a god who briefly went grimdark, so we have access to Tasha's otherworldly guise. We get +2 AC and a 40-foot flying speed. We can use our intelligence for our weapon attacks, and we can make 2 attacks with the attack action instead of 1. Now if we're being Grimbark, we become immune to fire and poison damage, and the poison condition. And if not, we become immune to radiant and necrotic damage and the charmed condition. Since we're somewhat omniscient, we're seeing a lot of information, and we need a keen mind to process it all. Our intelligence bumps up to 17, we always know where north is, as well as the time until the next sunset or sunrise, and we can remember anything we've seen or heard in the past month. There aren't any more 6th level spells that I want, so we'll take a couple more 5th level spells. Dream lets us visit Prospect with our friends in our dreams, and we can use legend lore to learn information about things or people of legendary importance. The more we already know about the thing, the more we learn, and since we're both omniscient and part sprite, we'll usually know quite a lot about the thing already. 13th level wizards get 7th level spells. Teleport is the full Green Sun empowered version, letting us teleport to any point on the same plane as us, and Dream of the Blue Veil lets us and up to 8 creatures visit Prospect in our dreams. Unlike the dream spell, if we sleep for the entire 6-hour duration of the spell, we're physically transported to the other world. I'd say that Skya qualifies as a blue veil. At 14th level, the Green Sun's energy actively lashes out to protect us. Whenever we use our Arcane Deflection, we can make our energy arc out to deal force damage equal to half of our wizard level to up to 3 creatures within 60 feet. For a couple of other things to do with our reaction, we'll look all the way back at 1st level spells. Featherfall can catch us if we lose concentration on a flight spell, and we can use Absorb Elements when we take acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage to get resistance to whichever type of damage we took for the round, and then add a d6 of that kind of damage to our first melee attack on our next turn. Jade grew up with transportalizers in her house, so she's well versed in the use of teleportation circles, and with the 4th wall that she found, she can literally break reality. I know that breaking through the 4th wall to access the post-scratch timeline isn't what the spell does, but the name fits, and there really isn't a spell that does that, except for maybe Plane Shift, but I've already flavored that as John's retcon powers. Anyway, Reality Break forces a creature to make a wisdom save. If they fail, they can't take reactions until the spell ends, and each turn they roll a d10 to see what happens to them. They can glimpse the horror terrors in the furthest ring, taking 6d12 psychic damage and being stunned for a round. They can be exposed to the chill of deep space, taking 10d12 cold damage and going blind for a round. They can be sucked through a wormhole, teleporting to a space of our choice within 30 feet, falling prone and taking 10d12 force damage, or they can be torn at by rifts in space, taking 8d12 force damage if they fail a dexterity save, half as much on a success. The spell lasts for up to a minute with concentration, but the affected creature can repeat their wisdom save at the end of each of their turns to end it early. 16th level gets us another ability score improvement, and we're done with feats, so round off Constitution to 14 and Intelligence to 18. For spells, Thunderstep is a 3rd level spell that teleports us up to 90 feet, and blasts the point we leave from with energy, dealing 3d10 thunder damage to every creature within 10 feet who fails a Constitution save, half as much on a success. And Sending lets us send a short message to a creature we know regardless of the distance between us, even if they're on a different plane, so we can keep in touch with our friends and with the trolls. Now that we're at 17th level and we get 9th level spells, thinking about it, there actually is a better spell for the 4th wall than Reality Break. Gate creates a portal to another plane that we can travel through just by stepping through it, or by sending a golden battleship through it. We'll also grab Meteor Swarm to unshrink the meteors we had from Melf's minute meteors, dropping 4 40-foot radius meteors on points we can see, dealing 20d6 fire and 20d6 bludgeoning damage to each creature in the area who fails a dexterity save, half as much on a success. 18th level wizards get Spell Mastery, letting us pick a 1st level spell and a 2nd level spell to be able to cast at will without expending spell slots. Our main space powers are Telekinesis and Teleportation, so go with Catapult for the 1st level spell and Misty Step for the 2nd level spell. Our pile of spells just doesn't stop from getting taller. Clairvoyance is a weaker version of Scrying that lets us view an area we're familiar with within 1 mile. and locate object points us in the direction of an object we're familiar with, as long as it's within 1,000 feet. We get one last ability score improvement at 19th level, so we'll cap off our intelligence for the best spells possible. Then use that enhanced ability to cast Enhance Ability, giving us advantage on checks using the ability score of our choice. If we pick Strength, our carrying capacity also doubles. If we pick Dexterity, we don't take damage from falling 20 feet or less. And if we pick Constitution, we get 2d6 temporary HP. We'll also grab Alter Self to let us breathe underwater if we need to, or to grow scary canine teeth to attack with. Our capstone is the 20th level of Wizard for signature spells. We pick out 2 of our 3rd level spells to be able to cast at 3rd level without using a spell slot once per rest. Those spells are always prepared, and they don't count toward the number of spells we can prepare each day. My picked here are Thunderstep and Fly for even more mobility. And we'll finish off with 2 more spells, so why not pick up Fireball to deal 8d6 fire damage to any creatures in a 20-foot radius sphere who fail a dexterity save, half as much on a success, and Wish to do, well, basically anything. Jade is omniscient and omnipotent, so why not? Now that the build is complete, the question becomes, how good is it? Well, our mobility is, quite appropriately, godly. We have several flight spells, one of which doesn't even use a spell slot the first time we cast it, the ability to breathe underwater if we need to, and, oh yeah, at-will teleportation. And sure, the at-will teleport is only 30 feet, but we can also teleport across the universe, or into other universes if we need to. We're also extremely hard-hitting, with spells like Reality Break and Meteor Swarm that deal enormous amounts of damage, Banishment to take creatures out of fights entirely, and Sickening Radiance, which can just straight up kill people if they get too many levels of exhaustion. And finally, War Magic makes us a surprisingly tanky wizard. We have 16 AC off of our mage armor, but if we cast Tasha's Otherworldly Guise, it goes up to 20, and we can use our reaction to boost it to 22 with our Arcane Deflection. We're also better at saves, thanks to Durable Magic and Arcane Deflection. On the other hand, we're surprisingly tanky, but that's compared to other wizards. We still only have a little bit more than 100 HP, so Power Word Kill is a definite concern. We also have a lot of concentration spells, so we might have to choose between mobility with spells like Fly, and effectiveness in combat with spells like Reality Break or Banishment. And finally, all this power is great, but we have low wisdom, and Jade has been mind-controlled multiple times, so her power could very easily be turned against the party. Overall, Jade is quite possibly the most game-breaking of the kids, with the possible exception of John thanks to his retcon powers. You can go whatever you want and do whatever you want, just keep in mind that your friends might be the ones to face the consequences. I hope you enjoyed the build. If you have any feedback or suggestions for characters you'd like to see me build, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, friends. I will see y'all later.